Hello, everybody. Thank you so much for coming to today's webinar. Just a little bit of housekeeping. We will be recording, so if you do not wish to be part of the recording, please feel free to turn off your camera. We ask that during the presentation, you do keep yourself on mute, but during the question discussion period, you're more than welcome to unmute yourself and ask your question. If you do not feel comfortable doing so, please feel free to put your questions in the chat and I can relay them to Georgie. Otherwise, we're going to kick things off with Georgie Barnwell, who is the Certified Master of Consciousness EFT practitioner and emotional success coach. And she'll be presenting to us today on stress reduction tools for women in business. Take it away.
Hi, Kylie. Thanks so much. And hi, everyone. I'm really excited to be here today because this stuff that we're going to learn today has really saved me. But what I'm doing is I'm trying to share my screen without making a mess. And there we go. Okay, I'm hoping everyone can see that and I can see you and it's all good. So welcome to Wednesday. And as Kylie said, I'm Georgia Barnwell and I am an emotional success coach. And I have been using tapping, EFT, havening, and a number of other energy psychology tools for, good 15 or 20 years. And they've really helped me as I started my own business in 2018. So I'm hoping we have some stuff today that can be really helpful for you. And so, well, why don't we introduce ourselves? I've done that. I'm in Lunenburg, Nova Scotia, and glad to be seeing you from the East Coast. So, Kylie and Elizabeth, Judith, would you like to introduce yourself? Say hi.
Judith's currently on mute. She's listening in as she's working. So
Good enough. I wonder if you could also say your name, where you're from, and one thing that brings you a flash of gratitude when you encounter it.
Okay,
Okay,
so
Elizabeth.
I'll go. I'm Elizabeth, and I'm in Toronto. And a flash of gratitude. My goodness, there's so much, but I would say the community I live in. It's a really welcoming community, and I really like my neighbors.
Beautiful. Okay, Kylie, how about you?
yep. Hi, my name is Kylie. I'm up here in Thunder Bay with Peril. And something that gives me a flash of gratitude is, I guess, honestly, coming home and seeing all my fuzzy babies.
Beautiful. Okay, so, and why am I asking that? Simply because stress reduction is really, really connected to things that we can find joy and gratitude in. So I usually have a little reminder for myself throughout the day to say, well, what are you grateful for? So that's why I like that as an introduction. And so today, can you see that all right?
Yep, it's all good.
I think it's okay. Great. Okay, so today we're going to learn how to move from being stressed about our business and our life to more empowered and powerful. And we know that stress is the new normal. It doesn't have to be really invasive in our lives if we know how to manage it. And we also know that stress in the workplace reduces creativity, productivity, and the capacity to solve problems. So it increases burnout, turnover, and sick time. So stress in the workplace is not great. Stress in life is not great, but it has its own particular impact on the workplace. And big businesses have all kinds of workplace wellness programs, but as entrepreneurs, we don't have that. So what I wanted to introduce to you today is a basic toolkit. And I use a number of different approaches, but today I think we have time to learn something about emotional freedom techniques, also known as tapping. And so we can have a little introduction to that and experience how it works for us and learn a little bit about how it impacts our nervous system and why it's so useful. So tapping's been around for about 30 years. There are 300 plus peer-reviewed studies showing how it works and what it's effective for. And so you can essentially tap on anything if you know how to do it. What we're going to learn today is how to build a short and powerful daily practice that helps you reduce conflict and burnout and overwhelm, and helps you to create a foundation of safety and stability in your nervous system, because that's where everything moves from. And then you can navigate the challenges of your business and your life more easily. I want to just talk a minute about stress. How do you know when you're stressed? Think about that. What do you notice? Do you notice emotions or behaviors or urges? Do you notice a specific kind of thoughts? Elizabeth, Kylie, have you got any ideas? What would you say is your sign of stress?
Pain flare up.
Pain flare up. Yeah. Okay, Elizabeth.
For me, I'm craving sugar. Yeah.
Yeah. Craving sugar is a big one. And hi, Judith. Welcome. We're just learning a little bit about stress. And we're looking at, how do you know when you're stressed? So Kylie says she has pain flare-ups, and Elizabeth says she craves sugar. How do you notice when you're stressed? Oh, TT, sorry. I was reading
Oh,
Hi.
hi, Trisha. Sorry, my
Trisha,
name's
welcome.
not here. Thank you.
What's your sign of stress?
Oh, I eat at night and I clench my jaw.
Yeah, eating at night, clenching their jaw. Absolutely. Those are all really common signs of stress. And what do you do? What's your go-to to manage that stress?
I have to remind myself to relax, so I'll stand up and kind of move my body, because when you clench your jaw too, you also notice your shoulders are up, right? And it'll like keep my neck, everything out of alignment. So I have to
Oh,
stand up, move my body. That's what I do. And then at nighttime, I mean, I try to like listen to music or meditate, but again, it doesn't always work. So
it doesn't always work. Yeah, exactly.
yeah.
And so sugar cravings, pain flare-ups, clenched jaw, emotional eating. Yeah, those are all signs of stress. And certainly the emotional eating is a strategy to reduce stress, and so is eating sugar. So we're chasing some kind of brain chemistry that makes us feel better, but it's not always the most effective strategy. Yeah, but I mean, I have a whole basket full of ineffective strategies. I'm getting further and further away from, thanks to these tools now. So if there was something that took 5 minutes to soothe your stress, would you try it?
Absolutely.
Okay, all right. We're going to learn a few things about that today. So let's talk a little bit more about stress. What we're hoping to do is moving from our stress bucket full. So if we can visualize ourselves as this bucket, the more stress we got, then we overflow and we're really stuck. But if we can use tools to reduce the stress and just send it out of that little spigot at the bottom a little bit at a time, then we've got more capacity in our nervous system. So what would cause that stress bucket to overflow and us to crash? It could be a whole lot of simple things. You're wakened up at 5:30 in the morning because your neighbor decided to cut his lawn. Oh my God, really? And then something happens and you can't find your phone charger and you're late for a meeting and then you have a fight with your boss. And then on the way home, you know, somebody pulls out in front of you. And by the time you get home, you're on your last nerve. That's where the crash can happen. So it could be any number of little tiny things that we don't process because we are taught, get through the day. Just if that's in your way, if that's bugging you, just forget about it. Just stuff it down, put it in that bucket, and then we overflow. Of course, other big things can cause stress as well. But these are the little things that are insidious and sneak up on us, and where we need to start first to start to build a stable and nervous system with some resilience and capacity. So the bigger things that can go wrong, these tools that we learned today, we'll also be able to use them to process some of those. But let's just move on. Any questions at this point? Okay, I'm going to be sending out the slides, so you can remind yourself if you want to. And there we go. So what are we going to learn? The tool I want to focus on today is called tapping, or emotional freedom techniques, which, as I said, has been around for over 30 years. It has a number of ways that it can be used. It was initially developed for use with people with PTSD and very traumatic experiences, and they know that it works. But over the years, it's been applied in different ways and different ways. It can be used for chronic pain or a stressful pain flare-up. It can be used to reduce sugar and food cravings. The research on tapping for food cravings shows that it'll reduce those cravings by about 75%, which is huge. Gives you a lot more choices about how you can navigate your day. So let's just try this out. And then I will go on to tell you a few different ways how you can use it. But first of all, just follow me around some tapping, and you can do two hands or one, but let's just start. Couple fingers, easy, gentle tapping just where the hair starts on the eyebrow. And I usually tap 5, 10, 15 times, whatever feels good. And you can tap really fast and really hard, or you can tap very slowly, or you can just rest your finger on that point.
Does it matter which hand we use?
Nope.
Oh, okay.
Nope, the research doesn't care which one. If
Okay.
I'm really upset, I'm going to tap with 2 hands and go.
Okay.
But I usually have a pencil in my hand, and this is usually enough unless there's something really big going on. So that's the first point. And then the next one is the side of the eye. And the next one is below the eye. The next one's under the nose. Under the lip. Under the collarbone. And under the arm, just at the bottom of the bra. And top of the head. We can also tap on our fingers. And then there's another one on the side of the hand. I'm going to send you all of these tapping points in the handout, so you don't need to memorize. But with the hands, I can sit here and tap on my fingers in this meeting, or I can put my hands under the dinner table when my Aunt Myrtle's given me the gears, and I can kind of calm myself down. You can also just gently squeeze the fingers. Yeah, and you can do it with one hand. This one actually I quite like. So what are we doing? I mean, it looks kind of crazy. We're tapping on the ends of specific energy meridians in the body. And these points would be used by an acupuncturist or acupressurist. And they are known to stimulate a neurological reflex to downregulate arousal. That's the simple story. And so as that arousal comes down, the research has shown that cortisol comes down by up to 40%, which is huge. And as cortisol comes down, so do stress hormones, so does inflammation. And we also get more helpful neurotransmitters and more blood to our thinking brain. So we have a different perspective on what's troubling us. So instead of being overwhelmed, like I can't do this report, I'll never figure it out, to there's no way I can market, there's no way I can do this, that, or the other, or I just got to fight my way through this. Those are all defensive situations for our nervous system. And sometimes we need that, you know, if there's a tiger in the room, but mostly we don't. Mostly our stress responses are conditioned because of our past experiences and the craziness of the world, but we can also change that. Because if we come down into a parasympathetic nervous system, we're not defensive. We got lots of blood here. We can look at something and say, you know what, maybe I can solve that problem. So it's a complete physiological and emotional shift, but it also is a huge shift in what we think is possible for us and how we can manage the challenges that we see. So this stuff is pretty amazing. And when you think of the stress reduction practices that many of us try, like meditation, and sometimes, you know, we think, well, I really should meditate. It's supposed to be good for me. But we sit down and all we've got is the laundry list going through our head. We can't seem to quiet down enough. And that is simply a function of our nervous system. And if we are in fight, flight, freeze, overwhelm, meditation is going to be very difficult, if possible at all, because our nervous system's not open to it. If we can shift into parasympathetic state by tapping or easy breathing, there are a number of things that will get us there, then we often find that meditation and other practices are much easier and a lot more effective. So for me, tapping has really opened the door for me to do a lot of other really helpful things and to shift stress reduction habits that were not so helpful, like eating sugar and watching Netflix. So that's the short story on what this is and why it works. So let me see here. We got this to move. Let's try it. So I'd like you to experience what this can do in a very short time. So I'd ask you to think of one thing that is causing you stress today. And not the biggest thing in the world, because I want to start small so you get a sense of how this works, but I don't want you to think about the biggest thing going on. So is it, you know, you've dropped your phone charger, or that neighbor has been out with the lawnmower, or is there something businessy that's causing you, you know, some irritation, some annoyance? I would say 3 to 4 on a 0 to 10 scale. Can you think of one thing? Just give me a thumbs up if you can think of it. Okay. So, well, what's that number, 0 to 10 right now? Just hold your fingers up.
10 being the strongest, or
Yeah. So don't go for the biggest.
okay.
4. Okay.
I think that's more.
Okie dokie. All right. Okay. So take that thing, whatever the thing is, and pop it in that bag and put the bag over the corner of the desk or at the doorway. You know, metaphorically. And let's do some tapping. Okay. The first thing I'm going to do is just suggest we just go through one round of tapping like we did before. So, and let's use both hands this time, just gentle and easy, about 15 times. And then you can actually slide around to the next one. Slide around here. And under the arms. And top of the head. Okay, now I would invite you to take an easy breath in, pause at the top, and let it out. And just feel yourself supported by your chair. Feel your feet in the floor, and just take a look around your room. Notice what you see. And come back to us. Now, when you check into that thing, has your number changed? Yeah.
Yeah.
What do you notice now?
I notice calmer. My breath is longer. I
Beautiful.
probably shouldn't have looked around the room.
Oh, oh well, okay. Pretend you're looking out the window.
Yeah.
Beautiful. Okay. All right. So calmer. Any other descriptions, Kylie or Elizabeth?
My heartbeat has definitely slowed down.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Elizabeth?
Yeah, just a sense of calm.
Yeah. Okay. So that is in like, we've done 2 rounds of tapping and taken some easy breathing. That's how quickly it can work. And so that external orientation, the easy breath and the looking around is also important for the nervous system because we are looking around to make sure there's no tigers to run from in the moment. And that does stabilize the nervous system. So the purpose of that tapping round, number 1, was to reduce arousal about the thing and to bring the nervous system to a calmer, safer, more stable place. That's all that was about. That has nothing to do with resolving whatever the problem is, but this can put you in a place where that problem is more easily resolved. Okay. I've got a few different little ways that this tapping, we can use that simple tool. First of all, mindless tapping would be tapping whether you need it or not. And this actually teaches the body that, oh yeah, okay, here she is. She's teaching me how to reduce stress. It's like the firemen practice, 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 even though they know what they're doing. Because they practice to the point where they don't have to think, well, do I put my boot on or my hat first? They just do it. So this is another, so mindless tapping just kind of educates the body. So while you're watching Netflix or waiting for the kettle, opening email, before bed, any time you can connect it to something you do already means it's not an extra demand for you. And that tapping, even if you're not stressed, builds more capacity in the nervous system to reset after a stress. And so then mindful tapping would be thinking about the thing and just doing a round of tapping like we did, doing some orientation and checking in. Oh, I feel calmer. Oh, okay, I feel more relaxed. My heartbeat has come down. And then even if we don't have a particular thing that's causing distress, we may just feel distressed anyway. And we can just simply just tap. I would tap, take an easy breath, and a longer exhale. And then I'd like to slide across to the next one and do the same thing. Easy breath in, pause at the top, and the longer exhale stimulates the vagus nerve and the parasympathetic system. So that's tapping and breathing. And then if that neighbor really is out there at 5:30 with the lawnmower, you can tap and rant. What an idiot. Geez, I can't believe he's out there. What am I going to do? Am I going to go out and unplug that lawnmower? Anyway, you can tap and rant about whatever it is. And I would say no more than 5 minutes. But usually I run out of steam after about 3 rounds of tapping, and it's just like, whatever. Any questions? I mean, that's just the simplest way to add it in. Trisha.
When you tap and rant, I feel like I've seen some videos where people are tapping, right, and they're saying something. So
Yeah.
it's the thing that's bugging you then that you say.
Yes.
Okay.
Now, what you've seen online, there's when we work really specifically with EFT, emotional freedom techniques, there's a way we use language and tapping.
Oh, okay.
It's very specific.
Oh,
This is kind of at the other end of the spectrum around self-regulation.
okay.
And I'll get into more of that because yeah, this is just the very doorway.
Okay.
As I say, I use the finger tapping to self-regulate.
Yeah.
Yeah, all the time. So like this is just automatic to just do it.
Yeah, great. Well, better than smoking a cigarette or eating chocolates, you know. Well, maybe not chocolate, maybe chocolate's okay, but you know, candies. So okay, we've looked at what we notice. This is a little bit of information on, it's a compilation of many research studies, and there are many, many more that I have access to if you are interested. But certainly this particular one shows 37% reduction in cortisol. These research projects have been done again, and now we're looking at least 40% in certain situations. So immune markers go up, pain goes down. PTSD, depression, anxiety all go down. Happiness comes up, blood pressure goes down, and food cravings down by a whopping 74%. It's really, really helpful to apply to cravings and other behaviors that we wish we could let go of. I could go on like that for days, but we don't need to. So let me get out of here. Okay. I'm gonna take that and put it somewhere else. So here's a kind of continuum, Trisha. So what we're learning today is just the very little start of learning how to use it for self-regulation and self-calming.
Mhm.
So we don't need, and so like on that end of the spectrum, I call it tapping.
Mhm.
On the other end, I call it emotional freedom techniques because there's more specificity about how the language is used. So on a spectrum continuum here, we can use it for self-calming and regulation and creating stability. If we use it like with a daily practice, whether we need it or not, we're gonna find that things don't bug us as much. And then when something does come up, we have more capacity to deal with it. And we can use it for managing challenges in all kinds of limiting beliefs, behaviors, patterns, habits. It's used, well, the founder of EFT, Gary Craig, says, well, use it on anything. And he's true. So I use it a lot myself and with my clients around food cravings and shifting behaviors that are like less than helpful. Can also be used very helpfully in addictions, no matter whether that's shopping or substances or anything at the most specific end of the spectrum. It's known to be extremely effective for people with PTSD. So that's where it was originally developed. And EFT is what they call an exposure therapy. So you light up whatever is troubling in the brain, and then the tapping creates a different physiological environment for those triggers. And the body and brain shift the way that's stored. And in fact, for single event trauma, tapping has been known to actually wipe out the triggers altogether. For more complex stuff, then we just need to peel the onion and use layers. But this can be used with a coach or a therapist. And at the other end, you can learn these tools yourself, and then you can start to learn that more specific use of the language and the setup for EFT as you move through. It is better to use these as self-regulation tools first. That way we do have the capacity to kind of navigate bumps in the road. Makes sense?
Yeah, for sure. Do you know of people using it for anxiety in kids?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, if kids had this, I mean, God, if we'd had that, it would be a different world.
Yeah.
My colleague, she has a 33-year-old son, but when he was in kindergarten, she had a tapping mat. And he would come home from kindergarten and be really angry because some kid said something stupid.
Yeah.
And so he could say anything he wanted as long as he was standing on the tapping mat and tapping. 2 minutes, she said, Max, he's out the door. I'm done with that. I'm out of here.
Interesting. Yeah.
Yeah. There are a lot of other techniques that I train that would be useful for kids as well. So if you're interested, you can sign up to my newsletter list and you get notifications of new trainings coming up. But this can really change the capacity of kids to navigate their lives and the world,
Yeah.
make it a much more peaceful world. Yeah. So let's see. That is the short story around this particular tool. And I do have a women in business support group coming up. I've got some on the waiting list. And so once I get enough on the waiting list, I will run it. So here's some information about that. It would be 6 weeks, meeting an hour and a half to 2 hours, depending on how many people are in the group. And then we would be, addressing whatever's going on with us around our business and trying to bring some common stability and capacity to solve problems. So that's on my website. And gee, are we done? My gosh, we are. We got in under the 45 minutes. Okay, any questions, comments, suggestions?
The great reminder. I learned about this, I don't know, a couple decades ago, and I have it in my head, and sometimes I run into videos. So thank you for reintroducing it.
My pleasure.
Yeah.
I started following Gary Craig back about 2003. And then,
Okay.
started using it a lot more seriously in the
Yeah.
last 10 years. Yeah,
No, very
Yeah.
good.
good. Okay. And one of the things, I did a bunch of trainings way back, but then I would come home and go, but I don't know what to say.
Yeah.
I didn't use it.
Yeah.
So now this kind of opens the door and helps it become more of a habit.
Yeah, no, I love that.
Yeah.
Always finding different like tools and see which one resonates, because maybe now it will resonate more versus when you know, like,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah, yeah, absolutely. Okay, thanks. Well, it's always fun to get together and talk with people.
Yes, absolutely.
Okay,
Yeah, thanks for the introduction.
my pleasure. If you've got any questions, shoot me an email and I'll send this slide deck out so that you'll get that too.
Great. I'm just checking out your website now,
Oh,
so.
great.
it's
Okay.
great.
Well, thank you so much, Georgie, for coming to this wonderful presentation today. Thank you, everybody, for coming. If you guys would like a copy of the recording, please feel free to shoot me an email at communications@paro.ca. I'll drop that in the chat here for you.
But
And
we did put our emails in the chat, so will you
Yeah.
send them out to those? Okay.
yeah, once the recording has been processed, yes, I will send it out there. And once Georgie has sent me the copy of the presentation as well, I will send that all in one go. So I'm not flooding you guys with emails. But yes, thank you so much, everybody, for coming today. And we hope to see you at future webinars. Thanks, Ben.
Wonderful.
That's a pleasure
Appreciate
for
it.
me.
Thank you.